Morning, everybody. I decided to sit outside this morning, have a couple conversations with some people that are, I have conversations with people that I absolutely love. I've managed to surround myself with amazing people, and it's beautiful out over here in Jersey City. And so I thought I'd sit outside this morning, drink my coffee, have some conversations with some friends, and then remember that it was time to update all of you on what's going on in data privacy, data ethics, what's going on in our world. And instead of posting an article this morning, I wanted to initiate a little bit more of I wanted to let you know about the conversations that I had. So one of the conversations this morning was with one of my best friends, who, by the way, is not actually a data privacy advocate, which leads to some very interesting conversations. It's okay, because what it does is it allows me to think a little bit differently, makes me come out of my bubble, my data privacy bubble, and to think about how this is impacting the average consumer, because the average consumer might not necessarily be as interested in data privacy as I would be, or even as some of you would be. And that's okay. That's part of the joy of being human and having these discussions, right? So this morning what we talked about, and what I've been talking about this week, is the accuracy of the new tech that is being implemented, right, within businesses. So this new technology that is going to scan you to see if you have a temperature. It's going to be able to scan your face and track who you are as you're going through your day-to-day job to make sure you're staying socially distant. If it determines that you potentially have COVID, then it's the system that's going to tell you that you can't come to work today. And so I think accuracy is hugely important in the system. And I think that it's hugely important that we really understand what the implications of this are going to be moving forward. And I say this because part of the conversation that we had this morning was around this idea that there's a certain amount of play in our system right now, right? So we don't really have unique identifiers. We have social security numbers. And social security numbers were originally created specifically with a desire to track people who go to work so that they can pay taxes. And since then, their social security number is used for everything. Like if you apply for a mortgage, if you buy a car, if you need to validate who you are, you have to have a social security card. But there's some play in that system, right? That you can still kind of get around not having a social security number in a lot of circumstances. And so that play in the system allows for some flexibility that is actually, I think, rather healthy for our current society. And if we were to implement things like biometrics that are extremely accurate, by the way, if they are extremely accurate, if we were to implement them, then we wouldn't have the play in the system anymore. And it would be a lot more difficult for us as a society, because we'd have to confront a lot of issues that we just simply are not ready to confront yet. And we mean a lot of changes. And so that's one potential implication here. The other potential implication here is what I mentioned initially, the sheer inaccuracy of this, right? Even this phone that I'm currently holding and recording on, I can tell you that anytime my face looks a little bit different, if my contacts aren't in, if my glasses aren't on, if I am, my face is scrunched in a weird way, or I'm making a weird face, this phone not going to open unless I put my passcode in, right? Which frequently happens. And so, sure, minor frustration, I have to actually physically enter a passcode to my phone, but that's not the point. The point is that, if we have too accurate of a way to track, there are implications there. And if the tech that we have is not accurate, the implications there are pretty severe as well, right? If we have tagged you as the wrong person, and somehow this data means that you can't go to work, if it results in some sort of a financial discrepancy for you, if the technology cannot track you accurately because of your skin color, and so it flags you as being the wrong person. These are all things that we have to really, really think about. And as I have been lucky enough to again be surrounded by amazing people and to be able to help with some of the New York State privacy legislation. These are questions that we've been considering and we've been thinking about. And the law is not a scalpel. The law is a broad sword, right? It's not meant to handle tiny individual occurrences. And no matter how well you write a law, no matter how well intentioned you are, there are going to be implications and repercussions here within the system. We've talked about a couple. One, if it's too accurate. What happens if it's too accurate? And then we are forced to confront all of the play in the system that we weren't thinking about before. We're thinking about enforcing things a little bit too strictly sometimes that might be bad for society as a whole. And if it's inaccurate, it means you can't buy your groceries because you can't go into the grocery store because they said that they've scanned you, oh, you have a fever, oh, you can't come in, even if you don't. How do you make sure that this is accurate? Or it says you can't come to work, you have to go quarantine for 2 weeks. What if you are physically required to be at your job and you or do not have the ability to work from home, and that means that you are out of money for 2 weeks? These are really, really big questions that we have to consider. And then also, how long is your health data going to be recorded and tracked in your personal profile, right? What are the repercussions of this? So I'm not going to post an article this morning. I'm going to leave you with this, and I would love to hear your comments. I would actually love to be a little bit more engaged with you guys and tell me what your thoughts are. What are the other implications that we're not thinking of this technology? Whether it's too accurate, whether it's not accurate enough, what else are we missing? Talk to you soon.